To go. It is September 6th, 2020, episode 15. 3, 2, 1. Ha! How is everyone doing this fine Sunday evening? It is hot as hell here in California here,
Hell yeah, it
but
is.
it's some crazy weather. But again, thank you guys for just visiting us here at PS Comics. I love you. I am one of your hosts, JR Kabukuman, aka the Dark King, and to the left of me, I'm hoping still, is
That way.
the one, the only Kevin Pillow, aka
Hey.
the voice
The,
of
the
reason.
voice of reason, sorry.
Got excited.
No, I was having a stretch there. It's been a long day for the voice of reason. I was telling JR off the air. It's been a long week. And with the coronavirus out there, and also amongst the COVID-19, I am preparing for a golf tournament. So it's like I am genuinely exhausted, and but still, I got to get up. I got to get up to do a little PS Comics. I love you. Yeah, like JR said, it is episode number 15. So it's our quinceañera. We are here to celebrate, and JR has as always, does a great job at producing this show, and has a great topic on hand that we will get to. But we got to get to our news and notes. And speaking of the coronavirus, if it wasn't a bad week for celebrities when it comes to COVID-19, it strikes again. The week started with, of course, the man, the myth, the legend, the most electrifying man in sports and entertainment, The Rock, and his entire family coming down with the coronavirus. Yep. He seems to be okay. That has put a damper on his acquisition, finalizing the acquisition of the XFL away from his old boss, Vince McMahon. But the Rona didn't strike just The Rock, aka Black Adam, but it worked its way through the Warner Brothers family, and it found its way to a crew member on the Batman, Matt Reeves' Batman, which we were all stoked about. By the way, can we make a note of this? That trailer that we teased a couple of weeks ago during Fandom, which, by the way, we do not own. That is Warner Brothers, AT&T, DC Comics, blah, 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 blah. We just wanted to do a little reaction video to it. Can we just point out the fact that trailer was based on only 25% of the movie being filmed?
Yep.
Matt Reeves, holy crap. I wanted so bad to hate this movie. And if that's a quarter of what he shot so far, I mean, he showed us the whole movie. Basically, I thought.
Yeah, and that at that point, we're like at that point of like production where you the small film they did, yeah, that was basically generally a lot of the movie at that point. But that's just to think that type of intensity and that type of like just work already, 25%. I'm excited for the whole movie.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
But again, like we said before, like Kevin has already said, that a crew member has been stricken, but then we have reports already that is actually the Batman himself.
Robert Pattinson's got the Rona.
So yeah, supposedly, of course, Warner Bros. They're not going to say it, but the Vanity Fair came out a little bit later on saying that no, it's actually Pattinson. So hopefully, speedy recovery to Batman. I know that he definitely will. I'm hoping recover pretty fast. I know that there are some cases where Corona, if you are a very healthy and a very fit individual, you are more likely to recover from the coronavirus. Granted, of course, you might lose your taste for next year or so, but still. But here,
I did think it's funny though. I heard again, the coronavirus is not a laughing matter, but I did see a silly meme in regards to the aforementioned Dwayne Johnson, aka The Rock. You want to know how they found out that The Rock had coronavirus?
How?
His family could not smell what The Rock was cooking.
I hate you so much.
Hey, but yeah, they literally had just come out of quarantine. They started filming again in London until the news broke out that Robert Pattinson did come down with coronavirus. So the crew, especially Robert Pattinson, will go into quarantine for about 14 days. They'll retest, reevaluate, yada, yada, yada. I know this isn't on the rundown, but I want to add something that I forgot to text you earlier in the week about. It does have to do with a lot of what we talked about last week in regards to, again, in the illness factor, to kind of rehashing about Chadwick Boseman's battle with cancer. And we talked about how much he accomplished
Oh,
in
absolutely.
4 years since his
Absolutely.
diagnosis. So people have been asking, how did he hide that from Marvel, Disney, and all the other studios that he worked with over that 4 year period? And he kept that so close to his chest. We don't know how he avoided the negative physical he would have obviously come down with.
Hmm.
So I got to imagine then there was probably some
Had
working of the books with
had
the
to.
doctor and stuff like that. So people ask, when did Disney know?
Hmm.
And the story came out in the Hollywood Reporter when Kevin Feige spoke with the newspaper. He asked, "When did you find out about Chadwick Boseman's diagnosis with cancer?" And he goes, "I got an email from him earlier the day he died." Kevin Feige found out at the last minute that he had
Wow.
cancer. Not that he had died. Chadwick Boseman sent him an email saying, "I've got cancer. This isn't good." And it should go along with reports from the same Hollywood Reporter story, was that his family has come out and said that Chadwick kept it so personal, kept it so close to the chest because as of June of this year, he thought he was going to beat the pancreas, the colon cancer,
Yeah.
and put back on the weight that he had lost to be able to shoot beginning next March. That's right, March 2021. It was when Black Panther 2 was to begin production. Obviously, it is completely up in the air, and they said that the quote Black Panther camp is in kind of I mean, obviously
Disarray.
they're still in the state of mourning, but is in kind of disarray. Ryan Coogler and Kevin Feige have not said what they are going to do with the franchise, but there are multiple rumors going around about what is going to happen. Early on, one of the rumors was that they were going to recast the character. They were going to recast T'Challa,
Have to.
and the
Yeah.
number one choice for T'Challa was John Boyega, aka Finn from the Star Wars.
Really?
However, John Boyega has really not welcomed himself very nicely,
Yeah.
warmly to the Disney family as of late, so I would imagine that is out. It is
Hmm.
said, though, within the Marvel and Disney camp that the idea of recasting T'Challa as recasting the T'Challa character is, as quote, not even an option. They are talking about eliminating the character, killing off T'Challa, so
Oh, wow.
Chadwick Boseman's portrayal as the King of Wakanda will end with him, and that they will coronate a new king or queen of Wakanda, and
Awesome.
that the three other options are somehow, some way during the battle of Endgame, when the Avengers use the Infinity Stone, or when Doctor Strange or someone else used the Time Stone,
Hmm.
it reversed Killmonger's death. And there's talk that they could bring back Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger to take on the mantle as the Black Panther, which has happened in the comic books. The other option
Sorry.
is to have Winston Dukes, M'Baku, take
Hmm.
on the mantle of Black Panther, which I believe has happened in the books. I'm not 100% sure.
I don't
But the
recall.
number one choice is Letitia Wright's Shuri take on the mantle as the Queen of Wakanda and the new Black Panther, which I would love, and would set up, I think, kind of the direction that they're going anyways with the
Yeah.
Young Avengers.
Yeah. It's
Um,
it's definitely a paradigm shift, man. I would I it's a weird place for me to see that because like one I absolutely love Chadwick Boseman's
oh yeah,
portrayal of freaking Black Panther. Like yeah, absolutely. Like to me, he's the Black Panther. Same way that same way that RDJ is Iron Man, the same way that freaking Chris Evans is Captain
Captain
America.
America.
He's Black Panther. But at the same time, I still want to see more Black Panther stories. As
I
the I don't I still want to see T'Challa
I
Black Panther
know
stories. And so I'm like, I'm kind of torn, man. I'm like,
mm,
we only had him for what,
4 movies,
three and a half, like yeah, three like four movies, but at the same time, like maybe three and a half because
three
like
and a half.
Yeah, but
In
like,
game, he was only there at the end.
which is cool, but he comes back with an army. It's like, yeah, cool, absolutely, it's
Yeah,
freaking T'Challa. And so like, but like, it's sad. Like one part of me, I'm like, dang man, like I understand that you want to keep your battles to your chest and say that, hey, when I'm able to come back and basically be victorious over this thing, then I want to say that, hey, you can beat whatever you want to beat. But at the same time, like, yo, that's crazy, dude. Like you let Kevin Feige know literally the day of.
the day up. He, like I said, literally to the day he died, he thought he was going to beat the disease,
Mm.
and um, I actually kind of applaud
Yeah.
Chadwick in not letting the, because imagine if that would have come out,
Hmm.
they would have
They would
fired
have
him. They would have recast him.
yeah, they would look, and Fire would be, I don't know, Fire, but like, yeah, they would definitely recast him.
Yeah.
They would easily recast him.
So I mean, it's unfortunate. We're booking this after the fact. Of something that we probably couldn't imagine, but it does. And the talk too was that Chadwick Boseman had not signed one of those long term
Mm.
Marvel deals that had a 10 picture deal. I know he had
Yeah.
committed. He already had fulfilled four of the movie commitment, but it didn't sound like he had one of the long term deals.
Yeah.
I think that's why a lot of people misunderstood that Chadwick was not going to come back for
Mm.
Black Panther 2. That he was kind of. I had heard from multiple reports, including a friend of mine, said that he had heard that Chadwick Boseman had not committed to Black Panther 2, but yet he was there at D23 last year and made an appearance. Said that he could not wait for Black Panther 2. Yada yada yada. I just think he probably wasn't in the realm of signing one of those long-term 10 picture deals like a lot of the other actors had, and I think that's why a lot of talk was coming out that his days were numbered as T'Challa, anyways, whether
Yeah.
he lived or not. In this case, he passed away, but I think that Shuri, based on the comic books, were based on what's happened in the comic books. Shuri and Letitia White was the obvious replacement for the Black Panther mantle, and because, like I
Yeah.
said, it seems very much like
Yeah.
they are gearing towards a Young Avengers or maybe the Modern Champions
Yes.
storyline. So
Yeah. I think if they would have, this is just pure speculation now at this point, but I think like, yeah, I don't know if the mantle will go to maybe the story. I know there was different type. I know there were a certain point there were two Black Panthers. I know that for sure.
yeah,
Where and it was, I don't know if the mantles per se can have. I'm pretty sure the way the everything was diverging into, you would still had T'Challa be as king, but at the same time maybe give up his quote unquote mantle per se, even though it has been said that the Black Panther is going to be the person who is king.
yeah.
It's just
I don't know. I just
it's definitely a heart wrenching thing to look at now.
yeah,
It just kind of sucks, man. Just
it
I would have
does.
I would have loved to see a 10-year experience of a Chadwick as T'Challa,
Oh yeah,
whether
and
he be Black Panther or not, man. That'd be awesome.
especially considering what they have on the table now, gaining the rights for Namor the Submariner,
Yep.
um, and getting the rights for the X-Men. We know that in the movies, um, Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther was very much involved with Lupita Nyong'o's Nakia,
Yeah.
but in the comic books,
He was married
he was
to
married to Storm.
Storm.
To
Yeah, and
Storm.
the crazy thing, I don't know if you remember this one, but like the second that they got the X-Men, or that the talks of getting the X-Men, the director for Black Panther said, hey, when that happens, the first thing I'm doing is casting Storm. He was
Oh yeah,
actually,
that's right. He wanted to add. That was there was talk of adding Aurora
yeah,
to Black Panther 2.
yeah, like he was to be the first one. I was hoping it was the actress who played Storm in the X-Men universe, because she was pretty cool.
I
She was
like, yeah,
I liked her. It's just more so like, how do you add that into the Marvel universe, but at the same time, now Marvel do whatever the hell they want.
yeah. I will
The
say this: the more and more I hear about what Sam Raimi and Kevin Feige are cooking up for the multiverse of madness,
yeah,
we are headed towards Secret War.
Yeah, I'm hoping. Dude.
I'm hoping, and I think that the Russos are going to have to come back and do it. They have said that they are done with Marvel,
For
except
now.
for Secret War.
Get out of here. No, they're the golden boys right now. They're gonna be giving whatever money they want to, man.
Oh yeah.
So like, yeah, take it, dude.
By the way, since we last recorded, there's been a lot of stuff that has come out, tributes and stuff like that to Chadwick Boseman. If you have a chance to go over to YouTube after watching this video, of course, and check out the 2020 report that ABC News did, as well as the videos that were on Marvel, the Marvel Studios, and other Marvel-related Facebook and social media outlets. Pretty cool stuff. Some of the interviews that they did with Robert Downey Jr., with Elizabeth Olsen, with Don Cheadle, who started off one of the videos. Gosh, I can't think of her name. The one that plays Mantis.
Oh yeah. It's her name too.
And then of course the Thanos himself, the Mad Titan. God, I just had his name.
You're gonna make me forget his name now.
Exactly. Anyways, he has a quick yet kind of emotional tribute to him. So check those videos out, and I'm sure we'll be talking about over the next year or so, talking about more of what's going on with Marvel and the Black Panther saga, I guess you could say, because like I said, this was supposed to begin shooting in March of next year. So yeah, speaking of movies that were supposed to come out eons ago, do we have a release date yet on the new James Bond movie?
2020. It's supposed to be come out. From my last heard and last saw, it was supposed to come out this year.
Yeah.
So if those who don't know, the new No Time to Die movie, No Time to Die trailer released this Thursday. And did you watch the trailer yet or no?
I have not. Let's see if I can find it, and let's see if we can break some more copyright rules. Let's see if I can. What is it?
Just look over it, man. It just I'll talk when you watch it. It's like overall, I'm not. I haven't been excited for a Bond movie in a very, very long time. I can say that.
Really and truly, the last. Oops, I was kind of scared the crap out of me.
Maybe Casino Royale for me.
Yeah, Casino Royale has been. Yeah.
Maybe Casino Royale. Quantum of Solace. I think for me, after Quantum of Solace, just my intrigue for James Bond movies has gone down significantly. So I haven't even watched the last couple of movies. So.
I will say this, that when it comes to Bond, Casino Royale was absolutely phenomenal. It's one of my all-time favorite James Bond movies. Quantum of Solace was it. It was hit and miss. It was almost meant to be. I always told someone like it was almost like it was Casino Royale Part 2.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Skyfall was excellent. Was his name Javier Bardem?
Yeah.
Was a very. I didn't like him at first, and then I went back and I rewatched it again, and really did. I did end up liking it. Let me see if I've got.
I think I have Skyfall here. I gotta rewatch some of these movies. Been late.
Spectre, I gotta rewatch again. I was okay. So here we are, the No Time to Die trailer from. By the way, we do not own the rights to this. This is from IGN.
Yeah, show like the first. I don't know, like 15 seconds, dude. And I know we got hit by copyrights.
Oh, it just means we just can't make money off the videos. I don't care. I don't know. I'm actually kind of hooked on this already. Oof. Can we just agree that Daniel Craig's one of the best Bonds?
I mean, he's the most gruesome Bond. He's the most visceral Bond. I give you that.
Ooh.
James, fate draws.
Oh, are they bringing him back?
Yep.
Now your enemy's my enemy.
Should be known.
Mm.
Oh, that's right. Malik's in this.
Yeah, man.
When her secret finds its way out, it'll be the death of you.
I was so excited when they casted what's his name as a Bond villain.
Alec?
No. Well, him too.
Santiago, I want you to meet.
You're late.
When you're ready.
The guy that basically plays Doctor No.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I met your new 00. She's a disarming young woman.
I get why you shot him.
Yeah, well, everyone tries at least once.
Moneypenny.
Yeah.
James Bond.
Oh, I want that
Both
car.
eradicate people to make the world a better place. I just want to be a little tidier.
Are we gonna get sharks with freaking lasers on their head? What?
Come on, Bond.
That would be such a freaking callback.
Oh,
Oh,
that was a cool shot.
yeah.
You ever flown one of these?
Nope.
Oh, it's cute. Okay.
Harder to tell the good from bad, villains from heroes these days.
There he is. James Gordon.
What is it?
I don't know what this is. He's going to kill millions.
If we don't do this, there will be nothing left to save.
I like the old school tile too. Coming November of this year.
Yeah, this year.
Hopefully, I guess Hollywood as a whole is paying very close attention to what Disney did this on Thursday night with the release of Mulan for $30. You can, if you have as long as you have the Disney Plus subscription, you can go on to Disney Plus, pay $30 for the premiere access tier of Disney Plus, and that gives you Mulan. So a lot of people are kind of waiting and seeing how that works. I know that Trolls World Tour for Universal, when they released it as a digital premiere back in like April, I think it was.
Yeah,
it broke all kinds of records. But I think that was because it was early on, and parents were like, "We need some entertainment for children."
Yeah.
And Mulan, I think the problem is because it was been delayed, and it was a remake. It wasn't technically new content, even though it is kind of a new telling of the story of Mulan.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, this was like the first huge blockbuster that was going to go to a digital premiere, though Mulan is going to get a premiere in China, I think it is.
I guess, but at the same time, like the Mulan. Have you watched the movie yet?
I have not watched it. For those of you who don't know, too, again, it came out on Thursday, $30 tier. At the same time, Disney said we're going to release it on December 4th for everyone on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
so you're going to get it part of your regular subscription starting December 1st. So you're basically paying $30 to get to see it 3 months before everybody else.
Yeah, and not only that, but you only get it for like a day.
No, you don't.
Get it?
You get it.
That's it?
As long as you that's the common misconception that people compared to what Universal did with World Tour, with Trolls World Tour, that you paid $30 and you got it for 24 hours. You can watch as many times as you want. You only got it for 24 hours. With Mulan, you get the movie. You can watch it as many times as you want. You get it as long as you maintain your subscription to Disney Plus. You get it. Now, like I said, it is going to be added to the regular Disney Plus in early December.
Yeah.
The other misconception was that this $30 tier was a monthly subscription that you add, and that anytime that Disney has a new release like this, that's what it's going to go to. That you can either during the lockdown or whatever you want to call it, movies like Mulan and potentially Black Widow were going to be added to this tier, and that this $30 subscription was going to give you access to a new tier of movies. That's not true. This is just a one-time. It's basically you have to compare it to, okay, if you and your family went and saw Mulan in theaters,
like
how much was it going to cost you? It was going to cost you $10 a person. So this $30 is for one movie, but you get it for as long as you have Disney Plus. However, Disney is supposedly going to announce in early January an actual new tier, or even a brand new service. But I'm hearing it's going to be a new tier that is going to add stuff like Deadpool 1 and 2, other more adult thing. When I say adult thing, I don't mean dirty
Yeah.
stuff. I mean like PG-13 R-rated material,
Yeah.
like a Deadpool, like stuff that Disney had at Touchstone, because they own Touchstone Studios. That was their adult stuff.
Yeah.
There's talk that they're going to add like a new tier for like
So basically, anything like rated R stuff. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. That's their HBO Max. Then that's fine.
exactly.
But no, it's. I would love to talk more about the Mulan movie.
Well,
saw
I
bits
haven't seen it
of
yet
and I would love to talk more about it and just overall, like my overall thoughts. You know how I
because you've
feel.
seen it. Because you've seen it.
Yeah. With today's political climate, with the relationships between China and America, and me being Filipino and Chinese and Filipino, like, I don't want to talk about propaganda, but we will eventually.
We will get to it when we finally watch it. So yeah. Anyway, so coming out in November, hopefully, is James Bond: No Time to Die. Did they said who's going to do the theme song? Have they said that yet? Okay, so that they didn't announce that because no soundtrack I think has come out yet. Anyways,
Well, on to next news, guys.
yeah.
On to next news, guys. If you guys have just been at home playing video games all day,
Me.
I haven't done that in a minute. It's become out that because we are a comic book / pop culture oriented show, the Marvel Avengers, the beta, the actual game came out already, but the beta is actually being gone down to say is the most downloaded beta in the PS4's history.
Which is huge. Yeah.
It's huge. It's and from all counts, it got about like 5 million players, playing across all platforms. That includes PS4, PC, and Xbox One. So, hey man, people want a lot more of like, comics / Marvel, I guess. What's the word I'm looking for? Marvel content, right? So
Yeah.
people are hungering for it. So it isn't. I'm not surprised, man. I'm not surprised specifically that PS4 in general, I think sold like at least 70 million like PS4s in the world now. So like, yeah, these numbers don't lie. So
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to play it yet. I was telling JR off the air that my wife actually was going to buy it for me, but she only came across the limited edition, $100 limited edition version at Costco, and so she's like, "Oh, hell no,
yeah,
I am not buying that. I don't love him that much." But I'm actually enjoying going back and playing the Spider-Man game from 2018. Just such a good story. I just completed Turf Wars, which is the second DLC storyline. So I'm going to finish up with
the cat,
with Silver Lining. The heist, which features the cat, was number one. Number two was Hammerhead, which was the Turf Wars, and part 3 looks to be Silver Linings, which looks like it's featuring Silver Sable. So
I don't want to spoil it for you.
I don't. No, I will tell you this much. That's why I was super excited that Marvel actually released a comic book version of the Marvel Spider-Man video game in the comic and then actually have kind of created some spin-offs since then. But they did a really, really, really good job with that. And by the way, still haven't heard on an exact release date. Speaking of Spider-Man and comic books, for those fans of the J.J. Abrams Spider-Man, and some of you are probably going like, "Wait, what? The guy who did Star Wars is doing a Spider-Man movie?" No, not a movie. An actual comic book with his son. That's I think it was his son doing the artwork, and JJ was writing it.
No, I don't think that was the case. I think they were both writing it.
But excellent book. It's a new take on Spider-Man. It doesn't really take place technically in the main continuity.
It had like it was a little different. Like it had like he has a sister. And I think like he had like an evil something.
No, I think in the book,
it's
his. It's not his. No, it's his son. Was it his son or his daughter?
I don't.
I can't remember. But it's a kid.
I thought it was some similar. It wasn't like he had like a sister, like a younger sister in like issue 2 or something like that. Man, like
I don't know. I have to go back and read it. But it is very good. By the way, just side note because it came out about the same time as the Gamerverse version of Spider-Man came out, and if you want, and supposedly they only did 3 issues. It was supposed to be longer. Issue number 4 is supposed to come out sometime in the very near future. They have already written it, but JJ was a little busy doing Star Wars, so
And for those who might want to know what my gaming preferences are, as you can see in the background of mine, this is actually a Resident Evil 3.
I was thinking
right
that
here.
was Cyberpunk, but that's Resident Evil.
Dude. It's my girl right here, Jill Valentine.
Yeah, I will tell you, I think Cyberpunk is starting to pique my interest.
All right, guys. So I don't know how long, how much time we got left, man.
We're about 50 minutes in.
Cool. We'll try and run through this as much as possible right now, per se. So the last one, guys, that's actually a point of contention that I want to talk about here. So for those who don't know, for those who aren't in the know, the Game of Thrones showrunners, those guys are doing a new show on Netflix. Yeah, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss are adapting a book trilogy called The Three-Body Problem. Three-Body Problem is actually originally from a Chinese, you can say Chinese author named Liu Zixin. It's a Warring trilogy that came back, I think, in 2002 or so. Yeah, it's a trilogy, and had all these accolades, and they're finally adapting it to the screen now, or to the silver screen. And so here's the crazy thing. D&D, right? That's what they're formally called, right? D&D, right? They're showrunners, and they got Rian Johnson as executive producer. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, which by the way just means that he is probably financing it.
Rian Johnson, he's in it, as well as his buddy Ram Bergman, which they have also been producing. They've been executive producers together for a very, very long time. Alexander Wu, who is a writer on True Blood, he joins on, and of course they are having, I say this term very, very loosely, they brought on the original author as well as a translator for the books. They are brought on as consulting producers. Now, for those who know what happened in the last season of Game of Thrones, we can see how much that consulting can do for you.
Well, it's good to have the authors as technical advisors for a project like this. Obviously, you want to make sure, especially with a project with like Game of Thrones, it's one thing. You have what's his name, George R.R. Martin. It's a fantasy book. It's for the most part, the cultures are kind of the same. There's no real culture to make right or possibly offend in Game of Thrones, but with the Chinese culture,
this is gonna be different.
It's like Chinese and Japanese culture, a lot of Asian culture has to be handled with such delicacy, because you're dealing with centuries of tradition, and we don't know. You probably know more about these books than I do, but even if it's something that was written based in the 1970s or the 2010s or the 1770s or the 700s, who cares? People can be so easily offended. So I'm like, I actually I'm on board with that, and I think it's also something that probably they were lacking with Game of Thrones, with not having Martin.
Technically, the thing about that is that George R.R. was actually brought in as consulting, and I remember like the last, I think it was season 6 or so, right? Because that was during the time where he didn't write the last book or so.
Still hasn't written the last book.
Yeah, that's still right, but like at the same time, like the book before that one, right? Just released. It just released, right? And so this is after Jon Snow died, and so we're trying to figure out, because the last book before the
Spoiler
last
alert! Have you ever watched it yet?
It's been 4 years.
I know.
But like,
I haven't even watched it yet, but I know.
But in the book, right, it stopped when Jon Snow has passed away, right? And so, and that was the other 2 books that's going to come out. Winds of Winter's last one, and I forgot the one before that one. And so D&D, they literally stayed this out for I don't know how long, and just kind of just wrote down, okay, what goes down, what's the point, right? And they ran through it, I guess, and then the last season what we got, and not a big fan of it. I can understand the final
Yeah.
season of it, and when you eventually, when you and Danielle, no kids, finally want to watch this show, we can talk about it.
Yeah,
But
I know Danielle has finished Game of Thrones. I just never got around to um, watching. I watched it religiously. I was binging it, and I just kind of
Fill out.
it just became a lot. And for those of you who haven't watched the show, it is a very good show.
Yeah.
They do a really good job at character development, and it's arguably it's to me for character development, it's on par with oh my gosh, I can't think of the name. Walking Dead. Walking Dead is very, very, very very much a character driven show. And what that means is, for those of you who don't know, is like it just takes its time to make you care and understand everything about these fictional characters, and that's what they did with Game of Thrones. But I think that it sacrificed a lot for in the long scheme of things. I think if people are like, "Oh, these storylines are weak," that it sacrificed the overall story of the show for
There's a lot of things they cut out, and then a lot of things that was missed, where there was a lot of loose ends per se in that run. Even before the final season, let's say even around season 6, it's gotten. You see that it wasn't as tight as it was before per se. Right?
Yeah.
And so, I just don't want that to be on the terms for however this Netflix show is going to go on. And of course, for those who know, Three Body Problem it's originally written in Chinese. It's a sci-fi novel.
Yeah.
So it's a sci-fi novel about the inevitable problem is this: that how can a planet survive in the sphere of 3 suns per se, right?
Yeah.
So that's the thing that's the question they're about, and it's a lot of sci-fi. It's a lot of this alternate aliens per se coming to Earth and all this other stuff. And so I haven't finished the novels. I've started, but then it's just I haven't really finished all of it. So that's the biggest thing. I've read through some certain synopsis because I kind of want to get the gist of it.
Yeah.
Fully read everything, and so overall, it's definitely a wait and see type of approach when we're looking at this certain property when it comes to Netflix. So D&D got their hands tied with this one because they're not gonna get the $7 to $8 million budget like they got in Game of Thrones. So we'll see how this one goes out.
It may be Netflix, but it definitely ain't HBO. So
HBO.
And still no word yet. Speaking of Game of Thrones, I know that there were supposed to be some spinoffs. I did some research and kind of talking, and when JR and I were talking about this show earlier in the week, I did a little research, and that they are still planning on doing the
prequel,
but no word yet on when we're going to see that.
And prequel or some of that. So to kind of segue more so, guys, in other pop culture news.
Oh, here's JR's favorite topic.
BTS new song Dynamite debuts at #1 at Billboard Top 100. Yes, I said that right. BTS, a Korean boy band, debuted a #1 song, Dynamite, and Top 100. Billboard here in America, their first American song they had, and it shoots #1. Why do we have this on here? Why do y'all care? Because my best way to segue into our actual point, guys, it's more so. It's just a lot more so for me than y'all. Y'all might not care, man, but hey, man, I've been
it's his gimmick, guys. Let him have it.
Gimmick? How dare you, my good sir? How dare you? But yeah, if you guys hear a new pop song, just break out into your radio. For those who still use radio, it's that song right there. So going into our segue into our main topic of the night, of the podcast, guys. I had this idea kind of just roll around my head maybe a couple weeks ago or so.
Oh yeah,
about doing a top 10 list, and so our top 10s, my top 10s before ranged from what's the best stories, what's the best this, what's the best that. For this one, I kind of want to do a weekly thing, about top 10 covers for the week. Now we're doing something a little different here for the first, just to see, just kind of a test run, to see how you guys react to this, or see if you guys like this at all. Whereas the top 10 week for me, Kevin and I will have different lists. I will do the top 10 covers for this week, while Kevin will do.
Well, I could talk, I swear. To kind of celebrate and kind of to tease about what we're looking at when we talk about a top cover is, what makes, it kind of sticks out, what makes it pop and stuff like that is, I'm going to go over, and I know JR has his own list as well, so I don't know if he's going to be able to bust it out, but I'm going to show you some of my favorite covers of all time, favorite comic book covers of all time. And the catch with this particular thing is I just happen to own all of these books, though I was unable to dig them out of my long boxes and whatnot. So you're going to settle for some clip art of the covers. But I am anxious to see. I think I still have the original email, or do you still have the original email that you sent me earlier in the week? Because you had a pretty good. You had a pretty good list, so we will get to JR's. I'm not gonna let him off easily. He is going to show me and you guys, or at least talk about the his favorite covers of all time. But JR is going to do, this is kind of his bread and butter, and I will actually. There's a story about cover work and the connection between JR and I. And it's actually in my top 10. So as I'm actually putting the finishing touches on my top 10, I will. I'll start things off, and then I'll let JR get into his. So this is the way it's going to go. I'm going to show you my top 10 covers of all time, explain to you why I like them, and let me see if I can do this. Hold on a second. Nope, can't do it that way. Gonna have to figure out how to do this. That is, anyways. So I'm going to kind of, like I said, kind of explain to you why I like the cover, why what makes it an iconic cover, and then we'll get into JR's list, and then we'll get into the one of the other things that we're going to get into is, like JR said, is the top 10 covers of the week, and this is going to be something that's going to be ongoing. It's kind of JR's baby, though I will put my 2 cents in as well. So without further ado, let me get set on to, why is this not working? I'm trying to get all kind of
the part thing
technical here.
I do that stuff off screen, my dude.
I know, I was not prepared. So what was I going to say? One of the things I should say, one of the things that I kind of look forward to is a style. One of the things that kind of intrigues me to a cover is a certain artist's style, and I think it's no secret that JR and I are both fans of Artgerm, and I think that he's got a certain style that he likes. So this is going to be this cover that I'm going to bring up first here. Give you a little background on it. First off, this was a book that I had been wanting for years. This is my favorite, my all-time readers. I'm going to go 1 through 10. I know it's easy to go 10 through 1, but I'm going to show you right off the bat my number 1. And this is Uncanny X-Men number 141. And what it is bring up the shared screen here. Where did JR go?
Here.
There is. Well, I know, the screen kind of went cuckoo.
Yeah.
So there's the cover right there. Everyone knows it is the Wanted poster. You've got Kitty Pryde and Logan, aka Wolverine, there on the cover. You got the poster there. I call it the Wanted poster, but it's technically the kind of the hit list of X-Men who have been eliminated by the Sentinels in the Days of Future Past storyline. You got Cyclops, Colossus, Storm, Nightcrawler, Angel, blah blah Just a great book. Most people will say this is probably the best storyline in X-Men history. The cover art was done by John Byrne and inked by Terry Austin. Of course, John Byrne did a lot of work side by side with Chris Claremont. He actually did the interior artwork as well for the book. He also did the supplemental book, Uncanny X-Men number 142, which didn't quite make the list for me. The book that really got me into collecting covers, not just storyline, not just collecting key issues, was The Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows number 1. This is actually, it's not quite black and white. It's not quite the full color. I guess you could technically call it sepia, but I remember the first time I met JR was at a brag night at the Asylum, and he brought this book and the color version, and he's like, "Bro, you got to take this out." And I remember I was instantly drawn to this book. This is actually, like, I think Art Germ released the color version first, and the sketch black and white second. This was actually, I think, the third variant. So this was like him going, oh, I guess I could do this. And it actually brought on a lot of, he kind of did this a bunch of other times. He did where he did the 3-tiered. I think also J. Scott Campbell's kind of adopted the same style.
A lot of people now have been doing the same kind of art style per se, or not art style, but like art type of like art, like
black and white, a sepia, and then a full color.
Yeah, and then there's a Virgin variant. Like they do like 6 of these different covers now. So yeah.
So that's one of my favorites. It's a gorgeous cover. This and the full color version are one of the first 2 real collectible books that I bought that I wasn't after for key reasons. My third favorite, oddly enough, was a super easy book to obtain. It is from Joss Whedon. Not the cover art, at least, but this is a famous Joss Whedon book, The Astonishing X-Men. This was written back in the late 90s, early 2000s, or no?
Something like that, yeah. I just forget when.
But this was a really cool cover with Wolverine. It is very much in the vein of the Wolverine number 1, but of course you don't see Wolverine in this book. The cover was done. I managed to snag a couple of versions of this, or a couple of copies. This is a John Cassaday. How do you say that? Casada. Yeah. Cover with a Laura Dupuy Martin colorist work. But it's a simple cover, and it is super iconic. I think anything Logan does with the claws is instantly going to be badass. Which brings me to my tie for 4th. Wolverine number 1, Wolverine number 3. Arguably one of the most revered covers is the famous scene, and he just says come here. I actually prefer the 3rd book more so, and it just kind of captures Logan's vulnerability, where yes, he's a guy who I use the term loosely, can't be killed. His regeneration health is crazy, but it talks about his suffering.
Oh man,
what's up?
It just reminds me of the meme. Like this meme, like everybody always asks, "Where's Logan?" but never, "How's Logan doing?"
And this right here, no, it is, and it's just he's just super bummed, and I don't want to spoil the book and stuff like that. But as much as everyone talks about the number 1, number 3 is probably my actual favorite. My number 5 is also a tie. I think you can't talk about Superman number 75 without talking about the trade paperback cover. The Death of Superman trade paperback was actually the first book I ever bought. This is the cover of the 5th printing of a trade paperback for Death of Superman, which consisted of about 12 different DC books, including Action Comics, Adventures of Superman, Superman Man of Steel, and just Superman, and of course the infamous Death of Superman book. I was going to throw in a 3rd tie for 5th. It was the Deathstroke book from about 3 or 4 years ago that did a cover swipe of this cover, meaning Superman 75, this one right here. But I wanted to keep it kind of simple. But this was always just such a cool cover. They tried desperately to recreate this iconic moment with Lois holding the body of Clark Kent, aka Kal-El, aka Superman. They tried to recreate it in Batman vs Superman. It did not come across the same. It just isn't the same. But I don't know. I love it. And also, when I was a little kid, I was like, why is Superman bleeding black blood? Another cool cover. I think it's simple. This is the cover for Wolverine number 84, something like that. The first appearance or first battle between Deadpool and Wolverine. I just think it's a badass cover. And I know that I think he kind of recreated this in the movie. Obviously not with Logan, but with a bad guy.
Character. Yeah.
And just bodies went everywhere. So I don't know. I think it's a cool cover because you almost can't tell that it's Deadpool. But it's Deadpool. My number 7 book is, of course, the famous Jim Lee X-Men #1, which is a connecting cover. This particular cover actually unfolds to reveal. I'm pointing at the screen like you can actually see me pointing, but right here is actually Magneto, in his like a
shield aura.
Like a shield. Very similar to Michael Fassbender's shield in Apocalypse, the X-Men Apocalypse. So, just thought it was kind of cool. And Jim Lee's style is so cool. Really and truly, Jim Lee's style inspired the animated series. I just big muscles and lots of pouches. He did it better than Rob Liefeld did. Number 8. I know that JR and I share a common appreciation for this cover. It's a Batman Superman cover.
12.
It's Batman Superman 12.
It's 11 or 12.
Something like that. It is a Michael Turner cover. This is an extremely rare book.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're talking maybe triple digits print.
Yeah.
I mean, a few hundred. JR and I both happen to score this one in very similar fashion through the Aspen booth at a Comic-Con. I just like it. I think it is. People will say, "Well, you like it for obvious reasons." Well, no, I just like Turner's. I like Turner's work.
Yeah. For those who can't really see it, like the actual cover is it's a semi chrome cover. So it's a beautiful. It pops. The colors pop and everything. It's so clean.
Yeah, this picture does not do the cover justice. And one of these days, when we do another cover, when we do keep the cover segment, maybe I'll bust it out and show you on camera. A couple more. This one, super iconic cover of Superman, and people get confused by this book, and to take a look at this and go like, wow, Kevin, you have a Superman #1. But here's the thing. People get confused by it because they say it says #1. It's not the #1 issue. It's the #1 best-selling comics magazine. It's an advertisement. It's a flex, okay? The book is actually number 233. But it is still a 15-cent book. This goes for this wall book's probably easily $100 right now. Shout out to Empty Tombs. I scored this one through him. Got it on a steal because I buy a lot from Empty Tombs, and he hooked a brother up, and he was like, I'm a huge Superman fan. The funny thing about this I believe, I cannot remember who the artist is. Let me double check. I want to say it's a George Perez, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't think it is, but I remember reading hearing an article, or reading an article, or seeing an interview. I can't remember what it was. About that the artist did. That's what makes me think that it was George Perez, but I don't think it was. Is the uniqueness, and it's actually infuriating. Infuriated the artist on this book. Let me see. The artist on this one it's a Denny O'Neil book, by the way. It's, you know what? It's a Neil Adams. That's what it is.
Okay.
It's a Neil Adams cover. The part of this cover that bugs Neil Adams is the awkwardness of his shin right here. See how it's kind of like,
Yeah.
it's not proportionate from his groin down to his ankle. The leg is very disproportionate compared to the right leg, the left leg, that is. And the reason it was DC forced Neil Adams to redo this cover to shoehorn the Kryptonite Nevermore little flashpoint right here.
Yeah.
They couldn't put it on top. They couldn't readjust. They couldn't have him readjust or put it like over here or something like that. So he had to redraw the leg, and a lot of people don't notice it until it's pointed out.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, you can't unsee it. So one of the most iconic covers of Superman, probably one of the most iconic covers of comic books, and it's universally hated by the artist who drew it. My last book, obviously, I could not do a top 10 favorites without talking about J. Scott Campbell, and of course, this is arguably one of the most famous J. Scott Campbell books, if not one of the most famous Amazing Spider-Man books.
Yeah.
And that, of course, is number 601. This has been cover swiped multiple times. There's actually a super rare Mexican version of this book. It was printed in Marvel, Mexico. So for those who don't know what it was like, well, can you tell?
Yeah.
Like, well, first off,
it says Limole. I had that variant before. Yeah.
So it says, it doesn't say right here below Marvel.com. It says Mexico, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it just says Mexico, and then it also says like it's a Limole variant. So it's basically in Mexico, I think it's either Mexico City or somewhere else, but they have a convention, and it's just specifically for that. So they had a bunch of like Limole variants out. So you'll see a couple of them in the win eventually. It's just that, yeah, they're going pretty high now for a good portion of them. But yeah.
This is an iconic cover of just, Mary Jane infatuated with Spider-Man. She knows who Spider-Man is. She knows it's Peter Parker, the love of her life, and you see him swinging off into the distance, and she's worried about him. I've heard Jason talk about this book umpteen million times in interviews and whatnot, and it's actually one of the most, he says, actually one of the most controversial covers he's ever drawn. And I'm not going to get into why, because we're just not going to go down that road, but it's pretty obvious with the way he draws Mary Jane why it's a very negatively talked about book. But I like it. It's a cool cover. I think it heavily emphasizes what goes on in Mary Jane Watson's head every time that Peter Parker has to jump out that window and swing into action. So there's my top 10 favorite books. I know it was a cop-out to do some ties, but I really think that they kind of tie together, no pun intended. Mm-hmm. And JR, do you have your list or
yeah, I got. I just not my top 10. I'll do that. That's another day. I think we'll have time for that one, man. Because I can't get if I go into detail as well it'll be like a 3-hour show. So I'm good.
I will say this: I have seen JR's list. It is worth the wait. We will get to it. Maybe we will.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that bridge when we cross it, man. So,
but
overall, like, just I'm just gonna go over a couple guys. The top 10
we're
covers.
gonna do top 10 covers of this week, right?
Of this week per se, yeah.
Okay. But real quick, first too, JR, because like I said, you and I are very much cover aficionados. We can appreciate the artwork that these artists put out forward. I've kind of talked about like I look for, and like in my favorites, and when I buy a book, I look at a book and go like, that book is going to be huge in 10 years. Like the cover, like Spider-Man, I can't remember what it is, but it's the Miles Morales Spider-Man, and he's hanging upside down and he's kissing a Ghost Spider or Spider-Gwen.
That's Spider-Man. That's 11.
11. There's a super iconic the Supergirl run that Archer did, the Batgirl run that Middleton did. I think that the iconic Venom Spider-Gwen cover, the black cover with like this is like the Venom, you can just barely see Spider-Gwen cover like that you know that in 10, 15, 20 years from now people are gonna be like, bro, do you have that cover? Do you have that cover? what is it that you look for when collecting, other than the obvious of going like, oh, bro, this cover's going to be hot, or this book's going to be hot, and grabbing it? Is there a cover?
My criteria.
Yeah, well, like, what's your criteria? What's JR's criteria for grabbing a book?
It varies per se. Like at one, I have to know who the it has to do with a lot of trends per se with the year that is comics or just pop culture. So the trend right now per se, when I talk about trends, is more so the anime-ish style.
Yeah,
that's going on that's happening in the last about 6 months to 7 months now, where it's being propelled by Peach Momoko, right? Yeah, Peach Momoko is doing it, and then you have this other you have what you should look for, that cover that you have, right? It's the how do we call it? The Marvel Zombies Resurrection, right?
Okay, I got that. Let me pull it out real quick.
The regular cover is actually from a guy named Rian Gonzalez. It's not Peach Momoko cover, but their styles are very similar. Yeah. And so like I feel like that cover in particular is gonna be hot too. So it's a lot of the cover, right? A lot of the trends right now is very more anime style, because you see in the last 6 months or so, you see a lot like on the terms of Art Journey, and
This is the cover he's talking about.
Yeah, that's Rian. I forgot. Like I know his first name. I know his last name is Gonzalez, but I forgot his first name. I think he's a Rian or something. And so you have anime style from Art Journey, from Derek Chu, from Peach Momoko, from basically all of Art Journey's disciples. That's what's going to happen, right? And so you kind of, for me, I kind of look at that and say, all right, cool. What's going to be hot? I automatically pick up anything Art Journey. I automatically pick up anything Peach Momoko. I look at homages. I look at what is the relevancy of certain books, and so I would pick up, I think my last big book that I did pick up was shoot.
Yeah, Peach Momoko is this cover.
Yeah, the incentive, which I have, which is actually on my list. And yeah, we'll get to like some other stuff, but like I kind of just have to feel like how do I feel about a certain cover? How do I feel about the artist? How do I feel about possible like value when it comes to if it's gonna be valuable in a couple of years. And so I have to know basically what's my long game in anything that I buy, and that's it. Other than but like that's like 75% of my choices, while the other 25% is like me getting a cover because I just like it. That's it. It's just personal preference. I've been around the comic collecting game long enough to know, what I can hedge my bets on. Yeah. And so which are actually a lot of these books that are on this list right now. And so the top 10 covers for this week's list is actually comprised of not just new covers, but more so also covers that are, just out of nowhere are just rising lately.
Oh,
and they just pop like crazy. And I'm talking about books that came out, possibly years ago, maybe even decades ago. So yeah, to start off, there are a couple of honorable mentions in my top 10 list. One of them being You're the Villain, Hell Arisen 3, the second print. For some reason now, that's like $100 book now. That's pretty crazy. I'm thinking about also Captain Marvel 8, which is the third print as well. That red cover featuring Star, and that's up too. And Age of Chaos, Red Sonja, the Virgin variant of that one, as well as Ice Cream Man 2, second print that came out recently as well. And so that's a Dr. Zeus book cover. And for that one. That's some honorable mentions. So those are just just small. I just get those out of the way real quick, guys. And so I'm actually gonna do a share screen on this one as well. To get to my very first, I'll go from 10 to 1. To get to my top 10. 1 second. Here, my top 10, my number 10 actually is Batman: The Long Halloween. This one right here.
Oh yeah.
Long Halloween, and so I'm gonna move this off to the side because I actually think it's my other top 10, but yeah, that's fine. But Long Halloween. So for those who, there is some speculation saying that this initial book is the one that's going to inspire the Batman movie. So I'm like, hey, I see a bunch of this one's gonna go up soon, dude. I see this as a collector's perspective. This one right here is gonna go up. So
That's such a cool cover.
yeah, it's a great cover. If there's a small little feature, it's a small little thing where it reestablishes all of the rogues gallery of Batman. It shows you who, spoiler alert, it shows you the origin story of how Two-Face became Two-Face. So that'd be cool to see that. Yeah, you might see that. And also the Calendar Man, which supposedly is gonna be the main villain of the Batman movie. So here's hoping for that, guys. So if this hasn't been on your list to get possibly, that might be the good time to do it. So guys, so that's number 10. Number 9, actually, I'm gonna just end screen right here. Stop sharing and go back to me because I actually have this book in my hands. Let me just do. I gotta do off this thing real quick.
Got to figure out a quicker way to do the virtual background.
I know, man. But yeah, I'll just do it like that for now. So it's actually the Raza variant of Miles Morales. Miles Morales Spider-Man 18. Oh wait, wrong one. That's actually my list as well. Oh no, what happened? My thing turned off. There you go.
Oh yeah. You were showing me that one the other day.
Yeah, the Raza variant. This is actually a hip hop homage cover, and they still keep on doing those, man. So that's cool. I enjoy that. So that's actually number 8, number 9 for me. I just like it because it might be a sleeper hit. It might be a sleeper. A lot of Miles covers right now are just going hot. They're just incredibly hot right now. You're talking about Miles Morales hip hop variant 1, which is a Nas cover. That's going like crazy. That's at least a $98,000 book too.
Do I have that one?
Yeah, check, right? So there you go. Number 8 is actually, this is the only variant I do not have, which kind of irritates me. One second, let me just put it up right now. That I do not have is, here you go, the Negan Lives, the Ruby variant, aka the red variant. And so, the first, the variants that are actually sold out to retailers are the gold variant, the silver variant, and the regular variant. Or no, in the regular cover. And then the second print cover where it's a blue lettering, right?
Yeah.
A very, they had like a little internal thing where, as a gift to all of the Skybound and Image employees, they gave the Ruby variant. And it's 500 copies only. And so you see some of these copies now on the eBay and everything. They go from like, high $900 to $1,000 just selling the raw variants. And so I don't know if there's anything sold actually. Let me see. Is anything sold? Oh yeah, a 9.8 sold just in August for $15.50. That's crazy. So that's my number 8, guys.
And that's considered to be the red foil variant.
Red foil variant.
Yeah.
Don't get confused, man. If you do see some of this stuff on eBay, because the regular first print, they're a red printing, right?
Yes.
So you have to look at the books specifically, right? If it is actually a foil, if it's actually a foil cover. So I've seen some people try to pull some stuff, man. So you gotta be careful, guys.
Yeah.
Number 7.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, like, this is the regular. I know it's like what JR showed you. This is the regular variant, or the regular cover A of Negan Lives.
Mm-hmm.
The and you can't quite tell, but I mean maybe a little bit. There's a little bit of a that's
glossy,
glossy, kind of like a metallic look to it. That's what they call it, a foil cover. And and that's the other thing too. Don't be fooled, and be very careful. And that's why we recommend especially when you're going to do cover shopping, is make sure that you do your homework, know what you're going to buy. I have been just as guilty of it. Matter of fact, when I bought that aforementioned Renew Your Vows #1, I had forgotten, because JR and I were on different schedules at the store, and I wasn't coming. I was so new to collecting. I wasn't coming on Wednesdays. I think I was coming on the weekends, and sometimes on Thursdays. So JR and I weren't crossing paths, so I didn't have a chance to ask him. So when I bought the book, I had to like really do some work because I didn't know who Artgerm was. I could have just easily typed in Spider-Man, Renew Your Vows #1, Artgerm, and found it.
Yeah,
so I
get like volume 1 or something like that.
So I had to do Spider-Man, Mary Jane wedding dress. Found the book. I'm like, oh, that's it, and actually bought the color version, which really I wanted the sepia version. So I remember when I bought it,
Yeah.
and when I got it, I was like, oh. And then I turned around and found the sepia version for like nothing. I think, and I think the seller didn't know what they had because, like I said, that is the more valuable. That and the black and white are the more valuable of the two books.
So basically, yeah, just always do your research. No problem, dude. So always do your research, guys, when you're looking for, for I guess high quantity or high quality or slash like the high ratio variants, because you always want to, like, even if you see it like up straight, you can always pull out your phone and check out eBay. That's usually my biggest. That's usually like my biggest things. Like if I see something that I like, right, and I want to gauge how much it's doing on the market, I go eBay. That's my first rule. Basically.
But also use CLZ.
Yeah,
CLZ and Key Collector, because I'll use, for example, let me bust it out real quick.
Once he does that real quick, I'm gonna go to my number.
Go to yours. I gotta find something, but go ahead. Go to the next one.
Let's go. I go to my number 7 right now, guys, and it's actually coming in a hot new title. We only find them when they're dead. Number 1, a 1 for 50 variant from the very own Jennifer Zone. I picked up this cover, man, and I was kind of hesitant because usually I try not to pick up number 1s in general, or I try not to because number 1s are usually overprinted. Specifically high variants too, because like in the last couple of years, man, I've been kind of burned, man. Like I can show you right now the a number 1 that I got, a high variant number 1 that I got that's actually kind of just overprinted, and I can't find it right now, but it's the Symbiote Spider-Man Mary Jane, Gwen Stacy number 1 variant. And if I find it, I'll find it eventually, probably at the end of the show. And it's overprinted, like thousands of copies. You have thousands and thousands of these copies, man. It's out there in the wild. And so usually if there's a lower print, that's the one you want to get. Yeah. Thankfully, this one is only about, I think only like 1,500 of them is out in the world. So there's hoping a couple of years that, I'll see some value you can bring back to it. And it's also Jennifer Zones, and she's really hot right now. Number 6 on my list is, of course, Marvel Zombies Resurrection with the aforementioned Peach Momoko, which I did pick up.
Oh, okay, that's the other cover.
Yeah, this is the other cover. This is the zombie cover with X-23, and I'm hoping. And again, this is a number 1, and I'm pretty sure it's overprinted. But here's hoping. I had to pick up Peach Momoko. That's my biggest thing with me. And oh, you find your thing yet or no?
Yeah, what I was going to show you is when it comes to books and wanting to grab certain books. I'm going to use The Walking Dead, for example. Mm-hmm. Now, Walking Dead number 48. This was the 15th anniversary, 15th anniversary blind bag books. This is actually not even, well, this is technically the B cover because technically number 48 was the first number 48. So this is, I believe this is the governor being defeated. There are multiple covers that they did for the 50th anniversary. They did this cover right here that I'm showing you with the arrow. Do you see it, right, JR? The arrow?
Yeah.
Okay. That is the quote regular color version of that book. Then they did, which I don't have, they did a virgin variant of this cover. Mm-hmm. Then they did a black and white version of this color. Mm-hmm. And they did a virgin black and white. And then I think they did like another one. But what they did was this right here, these two that are right next to it. And yes, that really does say $115. And I'm going to tell you why. Is that in the virgin variant of this book and the color, they don't have the Kasplat right here, this lettering right here, or right here. These are both the exact same books. And these are I believe a 1 in, I think they're 1 in 100.
Yeah.
How I got 2, totally dumb luck at Comic-Con. But yeah, these are 1 in 100. I think maybe they're higher. Maybe it's right there. It is 1 in 100 variants right there. I do have these both signed by the artist Chris Burnham, and I asked him why this cover. Like, it's so violent. And he says that they gave him a instruction to do this cover as violent as possible. So he's like, I want to go overboard. And the worst thing they're going to tell me is, do it again. And he submitted this cover, and they went, okay, done. And then they came back to him and said, "Can you add the Kasplat?" And like I said, these are 1/100. You could only find a hand. You only said you only find 100. Now, and again, this is why you should pay attention to which ones are the most valuable. I'll use this one for example. Here is Walking Dead number 100, the death of Glenn, the debut of Negan. Of course, the original cover of 100 is the just Lucille, the bloody Lucille on the cover.
Yeah.
So this is the again, this is the 15th anniversary book. There is Negan standing over the dead
Glenn. It's Glenn.
Glenn. The cover art, this is done by James Herron. And so you see right there, I have the Virgin variant of it. Now, this is not the high variant. There is a a high variant that actually has above Negan, because you're thinking, wow, Kevin, you got the Virgin variant of the death of Glenn. There is word bubbles, a couple, one here, something like that. I don't know what they actually say, but the word bubble variant is the 1 in 100. So when you go and you just type in on eBay, I want the 15th anniversary Virgin variant for Walking Dead 100, and that one pops up, it's at most maybe a $5 to $10 wall book. The blind bag, the 1 in 100 with the word bubbles, I believe goes anywhere from like 100. I've seen it go as high as 200, because it was, again, it's a 1 in 100.
Yeah.
But it was next to impossible to find.
You're gonna have to definitely just do your research, guys, when you're looking at these certain books.
Yeah.
Because like, it was actually the original topic before was actually point contention, where I wanted to talk about what is variant influx per se when it comes to comic book collecting and selling today, where we have there's a lot of variants. There's a lot more than there is original covers nowadays, specifically in this era in the last 15 years now. And so that'll probably be our topic next week, man. Probably like, well, how do we feel about variants per se? But overall, guys, like we said before, do your research, and like, you must know if you're getting a deal or you're getting cheated per se. So,
and we've all been victim of it.
We're all victims of both. Number 5 for me, back on my list here.
Yep.
Oh, actually, back to number 6. So Peach Momoko is actually I could probably firmly say that she's the hottest artist right now, because her books just fly off shelves, man. Her pre-order things are like, they're done in like 5 minutes or less, man. And I've been lucky enough to get a bunch of her stuff. But we we don't know if the Peach Momoko burnout will happen sooner than later. So right now, I guess it's better to get some of her books and just try to offload them as fast as you can, guys. So that is definitely my my quote unquote, that's my I guess advice for some of the hotter comics right now. It's specifically for Momoko, and I know Marvel does a lot of, like, they tend to flood the market with a lot of her stuff, a lot of her artwork.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of gauge where you're at, guys. But number 5 for me is actually another awesome artist that does the anime style, is actually Sana Takeda with Monstrous number 30. Now, this is all just purely preference for me, man, because this cover right here is very much, if for those who don't know, or for those who do know, if they ever watch Hellsing, it's an anime, a crazy anime, Hellsing Ultimate specifically, where the main character is Alucard, who's a Dracula, who is basically Dracula, who's a vampire, working for the Hellsing Corporation, which is a British embassy type of thing, kind of secret ops thing, where they go kill demons and devils, and they're in war with Nazi vampires and we call it the Roman Catholic Church. So it's kind of crazy. That reminded me of that one. I absolutely love that one. That's just personal preference for me. I'm hoping that in a couple of years, Sana Takeda, she reaches the amount of acclaim. Well, she has acclaim, but she reached the amount of hype that Peach Momoko is getting right now. Yeah. Number 4 for me is actually, this is an older. Well, this book came out in 2017. America Chavez. We were talking about America Chavez, our very first podcast.
The very first episode, yeah.
Yeah, and even a couple more podcasts after that she might actually be in the Young Avengers, and she might be in upcoming Marvel films now. Well, number 6 from America Chavez, is specifically the Jen Bartel variant, is going
I
super.
love Jen.
Yeah,
I love Jen's work. I absolutely adore her.
Yeah.
I've met her.
Yeah.
She's super chill.
Yeah.
Um,
This particular
yeah.
variant, man, is just going crazy right now because
it's a cool cover. It's a cool
it's a
cover.
it's also a super low print book. It's a super low run. It's a variant, and it's going for like, the Raws are going for like $100 when they were like 2 months ago, and so even though there's number 2, the America number 2, which is done by Art Adams, even though that one's the higher, I guess the higher selling book, that's like, I think the Raw is going for like $275 on that one. They've always been around that price anyway. They've always been like about $100 or so. But like this particular cover, if you find a 98 of this cover, it's like at least $1,000. Which I'm gonna send this in eventually. I'm gonna send this in soon.
When did that run
2016.
end?
2017.
It was a short run. It was one of the.
It was a quirky run, man. I think the last couple issues had to deal with it had to deal with her fighting I think another Latin American supervillain called Dominatrix. So, it is what it is. It is what it is, man. Number 12 for me, guys. I'm trying to go through this really
No,
fast.
you're good.
Actually, not number 12. Number 3 for me, guys. Spider-Man 12, the Isanovi variant. Now I'm gonna show you this again. Pull this up. I have this variant, but it's out to CGC right now, and it is. Wait, this one right here. Now this is a super low print run book too, right? Spider-Man 12 is even though it's Miles Morales, there's not that many of this out. There's not many of this.
Yeah, I'd even kind of forgotten about it.
Yeah, a lot of people did. A lot of people did, and this is during the supposed relationship between Miles and Gwen, right? This is what you see in the movie. That's what capitulates it as, right? So this book just got hot as well. It's out of nowhere. Like the last 3 months, these books just got hot. That feature Miles Morales, that feature America Chavez, that feature all these like quirky characters that are possibly going to be in the new Marvel or new Young Avengers movies, possibly, right?
Yeah.
So 9/8 of this one just sold, possibly in this month, last month, for $19.50. I sent this book in. I'm hoping for a high grade, man. I got to check for Javel, man. But this is crazy. That one surprised me. I think I bought this book at Interstellar for like $20.
Another one that's kind of going on the same deal, that again just kind of, it was a book that just kind of caught my eye. Now I will admit that when I saw this book, I thought it was actually Gwenpool at first, but from the same
That's it.
from the same, actually it's the same issue number 12, Spider-Man, and this has become an icon of iconic. And again, this is an example, guys, of books you can just look at and know that they're going to be iconic. And this obviously dealing with the budding romance between Spider-Gwen and Miles Morales, Spider-Man, and of course it was going along with, I think, what was the storyline called?
I forgot. Like they're all in different universes. This is after Miles, of course, is connected to the mainline universe. But then
sitting in, it's called. It was the Sitting in a Tree storyline. So here's another one, and I had to get because I was like, it was part of a storyline. I think this was a crossover with the Spider-Gwen book.
Yeah.
Whoops. Oh, well, I guess it won't let me bring up that.
Yeah.
There we go. There's the cover. So, I don't know if they actually did get married or not.
No, they didn't. So
but those are books that just kind of caught my eye, and I'm like, those are going to end up being kind of iconic.
Yeah. So the last two on my list that I actually don't have, sadly, and I kind of kicked myself in the butt because eventually I'll have these two. I will have these two eventually, man. But the number 2 for me is actually a well-meaned, a well-meaned appreciation book from DC, and it is.
I wanted that book.
Batman 92, the appreciation variant. Do you know how much? You know who got this book?
Your sister.
Yep, she got it.
It's funny was the book. The book was at the asylum,
Yeah.
and it was already pulled.
Yes.
And when your sister went in looking for, I was there when she showed up at the shop, and I think Aaliyah showed her the book, and she's like, I guess there was like a communication issue. At least this was my observation. It sounded like that your sister was upset that she wasn't getting this book and that you had beat her to it, because it was just like it was not in your sister's pool.
Yeah.
And so they had pulled it like out of a cabinet or something like that.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh my gosh, who beat me to it?" And she's like, "Well, I think JR got it." And she's like, "Wait, what? Oh man, I get it, blah blah blah." And then I think Chick popped in. She's like, "No, it's your sister's." So
No, yeah,
yeah, it's
no,
a cool cover.
Yeah, I know. I told her to get it. That's the thing, like, because like I had a budget that day, and I picked up like two covers. I picked up the We Only Find Them When They're Dead, as well as the Peach Momoko variant, right? And that already was a lot of money, and like this one was, priced market priced, and so I'm like, nah, I ain't looking to spend upwards of $400 today. I'm good. I'm chilling, and so inevitably I'm probably gonna find this book, but then, yeah, man, this is a hot title, man. I know that Interstellar, that guy, he started his own CGC account and is gonna send this copy in to CGC.
It's already gone, yeah.
Yeah, it's already gone. I have yet to talk to Sid or to I forget his name, man, the cat that works there, George. I have to talk to George about if they still have this cover. Probably not, but if they
I think Chick said it was already gone.
if it is, then it is, man. But it sucks. I really wanted this cover, but it is. And my next one, actually, my number one for my list for top 10 books this week is actually gonna go to Fantastic Four 52.
A little shout out to, by the way, that previous the Batman number 92, the variant artwork by George Jimenez.
Yep.
That's the one per store variant. Right now, high grade, going for on average $200. It should also be known that the Jorge Jimenez 1 in 25 variant that came out on launch day, the purple one, that is going for $50. The Art Germ has only increased by about $1. It's going for just above cover price, but that Punchline book is going pretty solid. But sorry, Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four 52, first appearance of the Black Panther. Now, guys, this is, of course, with the passing of Chadwick Boseman, this book just jumped up, man. This book jumped up tremendously in the last week or so.
A lot of Black Panther stuff did.
Yeah, a lot of Black Panther stuff. And this one, which is crazy to me because I'll just show you like some of the sales. A 9.8, which is this sold in 2018, sold for just under 100K. Just under 100K. But then the one that I've been tripping out the most are some of these 5.5s and 5 books right here, right? Originally, they were about the same price as possibly your 3.5s and 4s. But now you see this huge jump within the last like month or so because of the passing of Chadwick Boseman. They've gone up at least $100 to $200.
Wow, is that $96,000 for a 9.8?
Yep. And this sold last, and this was sold last in 2018 though,
and
so it's probably even way higher now.
Which is really weird because, and again, this is where you have to be very careful. And this is going to kind of go into a little tie-in between our CGC and our collecting episode, and ties into the cover episode. Is if you look that book up on Key Collector, it's $2,200 wall book. $2,200 more realistic than $96,000. And you're saying, JR, that is a 2-year-old sale for a 9.8.
For a 9.8, probably sold at a Heritage auction.
When you go to sell books, not buy, well, both. For sellers, when you go to sell your book, you cannot use eBay all the time as a barometer. It does not show the market value. It really doesn't, because you're showing what someone is willing to pay for it, not what the market value is. To be honest, I do trust Key Collector a little bit more than eBay, because I think that is more on par of what a high grade book is available. I think it's an extremely valuable book. I was actually surprised that it was marked as low as $2,200, but it is. You have to be very careful with using eBay as a barometer as a seller, but as a buyer, know what you're talking about. Know what you're getting into. Don't let someone say, "Here's a 9.8. I'm going to sell it for $100,000."
Here's the thing, though. I will say, just for my contention, it's more so when I say check market value, check sold listings on
Yes.
eBay, because that's the biggest thing. Like, understandably so, you'll have some of these freaking guys that like will have a Spider-Man 1 from like 2015 after like the new renew was gonna sell for, it's a 9.8.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a quote unquote rare book, and it'll sell for $1,000. You'll have those guys, right? You'll have those people, but then you always have to know that the market will always drive the people will always drive the market. So you have to look at sold listings. And so a lot of the times for these books here, let me put back on share screen. All right. These one here, all these right here, the CGC consensus, these are sold from eBay, from other auction sites. I'm pretty sure this one right here, the 96,000, is sold from an auction house.
Yeah.
This is sold from an auction house. While a bunch of these ones from 2020, August 2020, right, September 2020, these ones are sold from eBay. And so you have to always, when I tell people, to look up eBay, I mean to say look up sold listings, because that is where how much the market is, how much people are willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
Because even though you'll have someone who will ask $5,000 for a Saga 1 RP variant or RP variant, the last one sold will probably be $2,000 or so. So you have to always gauge your market. You always have to gauge where you're coming from. And absolutely, this is not to say that Key Collectors or even
Go Collect,
or even freaking Comic Collector is not viable. It's just that we have the best way to check for market value, or like for where people are willing to pay, is usually eBay. So that's the biggest thing. So yeah, when it comes to some of these comic books, guys, and when you said before, to go back to my original point before, when I said that that you have to worry about what's flooded the market. This variant per se, I showed this variant off before, right? The Symbiote Spider-Man 1 for 100 incentive variant, right?
Yeah.
Art Germ. I have 4 of these. You know how much I paid for?
How much did you pay for them?
One I got from Sid, right? Because I did the whole hey, I'll pay for how many copies you get, for it. And do that whole thing. I think I paid a lot of money, and it's crazy to me how much some of these shops pay for it, right?
Yeah.
My other 3 that I got, probably total, no more than 130 for 3. So you have to. So that's why my rule now is I have to be tested on what is going to be hot, per se, when it comes to number ones, specifically when it comes to high key variants, right? And so I'm hoping my Peach Momoko isn't gonna be one of those books that there's 50,000 copies of them. But man, sometimes, dude, I have to bite the bullet and just take it. But that's my top 10. That's the top 10 for the week, guys. We'll see. Hopefully y'all got some insight for how we view comic collecting, how we view the markets per se. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other comics right now that just got crazy in the last 24 hours. But overall, guys, that was my top 10 for the week, or that was the top 10 for the week.
I will say this. I'll throw a couple of other honorable mentions JR's way. We mentioned Joshua Middleton. This is an example of a Middleton book. This is a more recent Batgirl, Batgirl number 48. Just kind of his style. Obviously, a lot of these artists tend to lean towards doing the female form. I think there's so much more you can do with that, especially with a character like Batgirl.
Yeah, they'll sell, man. They'll sell like crazy.
I will show you, this is another one that you have to kind of think outside the box with. Is, again, go with a uniqueness factor. This is number 2 of a mini series. This is a, as I like to call it, a AMF cover, and that of course is Anthony Fleeks. This is a cover that he did for Transformers: My Little Pony: Friendship in Disguise, number 2. Kind of a cool cover with Grimlock, and I can't remember what the little dragon's name is. But the original, the first cover was really, really cool. And I actually bought one for everybody in the family. So that my daughter has one, my wife has one, my son has one. A couple other honorable mentions. Again, DC Black Label really kind of killing it once again. This is another one of their magazine styles. Book 1 of Hellblazer: Rise and Fall. And it does include John Constantine on the cover. Really kind of a cool cover. Just really kind of jumped out at me. And then this is, oh my goodness, I can never remember this. The artist on this, they've done quite a few of the Black Label.
Bermejo?
What's that?
Lee Bermejo?
I don't know. This style. This is the variant cover.
Yeah,
for
that should be Lee Bermejo.
But I really, really liked this cover. It's very similar. I thought it was a Jen Bartel at first, or not Jen Bartel. Oh my goodness, I can't think of her name. That usually does Catwoman.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm blaming me too. Thanks a lot for that, jackass.
Exactly. But no, I like those covers. I think they really have done a killer job. By the way, that was my flex pull for the week from Asylum, a short week, and not as expensive visit to the Asylum this year.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's kind of what we got going. What's up? What'd you just break?
I just noticed that I got my shirt inside out this whole freaking time. Whatever, it's fine.
Oh my goodness, we can't take you anywhere.
It's not good, dude.
But anyways, compared to our previous, well, actually no, I think we're pretty much on par, almost about 2 hours. But compared to our previous shows that have been marathons, this is a relatively short show. I think that we want to show you guys a lot of it. We can be the comic book podcast that a lot of people are, and just kind of give you rumors and stuff like that, and okay, what's coming up next? Because a lot of what comic books are based on right now are movies and TV shows and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot more to collecting comic books than just going like, oh, like Riri Williams is gonna be in the next Avengers movie, so I got to go get Invincible Iron Man #7. No, there's a lot more to it, and I think that this is going to help when we do little topics like this. Is going to help you guys be the better collectors. And I know some people go like, "Man, why are you giving away all your trade secrets?" Well, like I said, we're a family. We're a community that helps one another. And I know that prime example when we were in Vegas last year for Amazing Con. We kind of worked together as a team to find these really cool books, and I actually ended up scoring not only some really cool J. Scott Campbell Black Panther books, but I actually ended up scoring a couple of Michael Turners, including one that was signed by Michael Turner that I didn't know about. And is that a teaser of the background that you're putting up there?
It's Mando. It's Mando. That's it. Mando's coming out for those just small tidbit. Second season coming in October, right? Should be October.
Yeah, end of October. I think it was October 20th to be exact. Mandalorian season 2. Yep. It has wrapped.
Cannot wait, man.
Still no word on when we are going to get Falcon and the Winter Soldier. If we're going to get it in 2020, I know they're still filming. I think they are wrapped with WandaVision, and I believe they are still in production for What If, and they go back into production for Loki. And we are, I think, just a few weeks away from finding out more information about the Hawkeye series, because that series, I believe, is officially in pre-production,
Yeah.
even though they have not announced who is going to play Kate Bishop.
It's gonna be interesting, guys. It's gonna be interesting. But yeah, guys. So that's our top 10 of the week, and top 10 for Kevin all time. You'll get my top 10 eventually, guys. But I want to do more of these top. Like, I'm hoping that like we can possibly do more videos per se when I do these top 10s. It'll be like short, quick. I'm hoping originally, guys, it's supposed to be like a 10 to 15, maybe even 25-minute segment.
Like a one-off, kind of like not like the idea that JR had was to do kind of a mini podcast of just this list, but I think we want to tie it. I will say this, that probably with stuff like that, I think you're going to see more of JR putting some stuff up. That's why I said really recommend going up and hitting up our social media, not just our personal stuff at Voice of Reason 23, and of course, also not JR Comics 42 on Instagram. But follow us on social media, Facebook and Instagram at PS Comics I Love You, Twitter PS Comics I Love the letter U, because there might be some times where JR and I will pop on just to throw some add-on content. So yeah, but I think that we're going to see. Not only are we going to see the flex pool continue week in and week out, I think we're going to see JR's cover shots or whatever. We'll come up with something.
Yeah, man.
But,
something like that. Not really though. Like what I do would like to probably, what I would do want to go with this comic book thing or this comic book cover thing is like maybe I don't know. Sometime at the end of the month, we'll say what's our favorite covers of the whole month.
Yeah.
Like, not released. So that'd be cool. That might be a cool idea to have.
So, but with that said, thank you so much, everybody, for supporting the podcast. Again, we continue to recommend that you guys go over to YouTube, watch this video. I understand the length of it's kind of tough to sit and consume unless you have YouTube Premium. But we again continue to recommend you guys go over there, subscribe to the channel, like the videos, and also click the notification
bell.
But also don't forget you can check out the audio format of this show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, just to name a few. You can also hit us up on, of course, the main page, anchor.fm/PS Comics I Love You. We are also now found on the #1 platform for podcasts, that is iHeartRadio. Download the app, search out PS Comics I Love You, and check it out. And it's also available when you have the iHeartRadio app. It is available for CarPlay and Android Auto. So you can kind of search it out right there from the car app. So, all right, that wraps up episode number 15. I am the Voice of Reason, Kevin Pillow. Again, at Voice of Reason 23. The man over here is...
I am the Dark King, a.k.a. JR Capricorn. You guys can find me at also not JR Comics 42. You guys can find us again like all our social medias, guys. Thank you very much for just continually supporting the show. We're just looking at our faces the whole time. And, yeah, man, well, hopefully... I would like to do the variant topic possibly next week, man, because I know that was a big thing per se for a lot of collectors. A lot of older collectors today were like, they don't want to get in the modern variant grail type of business, man. So that's something
let's do that. We'll do the good, the bad, and the ugly of variant covers next week. And yeah, I think it'll be a good topic because JR and I both really know a lot about the subject at hand. So, all right, guys, have a great week. Be kind to one another. Wear your damn masks. Let's crush the curve. And we will see you next week.
Hey, guys.
Peace.
Peace.